Is it time for space news yet? I think it's time. Okay. Put that down. Put that down. Put that down. Put it down. Just back away. Okay. All 300,000 bounty hunters in the star system. How y'all doing? Welcome to Roundup. All 300,000 bounty hunters in the star system. How y'all doing? Welcome to Roundup. 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 Welc Hey. Hey, cowboy. How y'all doing? All 300,000 bounty hunters in the star system. Welcome to... What was it? What is it called? I just said it a second ago. That new face doesn't fool me, Asimov. But first, before we get into the show... we need a word from our sponsor.
The store leading the fight against communism is having a blowout sale. Ammunition has a wide array of peacemakers. Come buy Ammunition on Militia Mondays, exercise your Second Amendment rights, and get 10% off all armor-piercing bullets. We're the only gun store that lets you try it before you buy it. Need anti-tank missiles? We've got them. Flamethrowers? Oh, yeah. No credit? No problem. No money down. 90 days, same as cash. Shoot now, pay later. During the 10-minute waiting period, fire off a few rounds of the Ammunition gun range, featuring faces of famous commie pinkos. Come buy Ammunition and register to win an anti-aircraft gun actually used when we whooped Australia's ass. This weekend is the Ammunition Film Festival with free screenings of the documentary Red Dawn. Ammunition, protecting your rights.
Remember, don't dial 911, dial 357. Ammunition, protecting your rights. I just like where this ad is coming from. I had to take on a sponsor. Sorry, money's tight. It's not. Avatoxin, what's that? What the hell? What?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
14 months, roundabout. Why? Why? What's that, Tessa? It's that corner, isn't it? Yep. It's that corner. Oh, oh, he got his bell rung a little bit. That didn't. Oh. Who was it? Shaw. And we're going to hear from our friends at Raytheon regarding the Tomahawk's guidance system. That was a write-off. Yeah, that car is not... That corner, dude. I called that... Dude, we were talking about that yesterday when we saw the Aston go around it. I'm like, that corner's going to get someone killed. Look what happened. Man, I really hate to say that we were right on that one. This track has no room for ever. Whoop-de-doo! It is fast, dude. Yeah, no, it's quick. It's quick. That, I'm not going to show it again because it messed up the video yesterday, but... Oh. Oh. Link. Tessa, link it again. That's not good. Alright. So we're gonna jump into some space news a little bit earlier than what I usually. Yeah, the Tech Pro Bear. Yep. It's not good. Hey Mac, what's going on? This is a pretty good KSP render. Quiet. Quiet. Yes. Yes, very good, very good. That does look good, man. I wonder how closely Elon has been following the whole World Championship chess tournament. I don't think Elon's a chess guy, Flask. I watched a little bit of the chess tournament. I saw an awkward handshake.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
This kind of handshake, you know. No, he has a profile on chess.com. No way. Huh. Cool. How do you know it's him though? So I got someone who's willing to tell me an R2 should I pull the trigger? In fact, that's up to you, man. Bram, you see it? The handshake, fist bump, and then fist bump, handshake, and then just, dude, it's bad. I'm sitting there going, stop it, dude, it was bad. It was like handshake, fist bump, handshake, handshake, fist bump, handshake, and then this, and then a handshake. Oh, it was, dude. I'm just sitting there going, stop, just walk away. That's what I do. Whenever this happens with me, I either do this to try and be funny, or I just say, nope, I'm not doing it. I will visually confirm that we are going to do a handshake or a fist bump. I just stop. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. I pull my hand away. Oh, Snake, it was terrible. It was terrible, dude. It was terrible. The cringe meter went, you know, it was bad. Oh. Boy, do I look like I know what a JPEG is. I just wanted a picture of a hot dog. That's when you surprise Turkey. The other guy, yep. Yeah. I gotta sneeze. Turbo. Trying to get that oil. Sorry. All right, let's go. Yep.
Where are we in terms of the timeline for the maiden flight? And I ask that because it is a rocket that is being made with American rocket engines that are being supplied by Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin.
It is. Well, we're in the end game now. This is the hardest and most exciting part of any rocket development program. It is being paced by those brand new engines. They're new technology and new fuel. They will be delivered to us early next year, and that will support a launch later in the year. In fact, 2 launches before the year is out.
So early next year, it sounds like Blue Origin's delayed.
They are. I was hoping to get those engines for Christmas. I have giant stockings at home waiting for them, but they've just had a little bit more, I'll say it's taking them a little longer to fabricate my production engines. They're in the factory now, being built at Blue Origin. The COVID epidemic has affected them and their supply chain, and it's just taking a little bit longer, but they're doing very, very well. There's been no problems with them, and in fact, we're doing the final testing, what we call certification testing, and that is just going really, really well.
Where are my engines, Jeff? No, that's, yeah. I think Tori Bruno was losing his cool there for a second. No. Guys, it seems like they were scaling. Okay, so listen to what Tori Bruno said right there. So, here, listen, right here.
To us early next year. It is being paced by those brand new engines.
Right there. They're scaling around propulsion, which is normal. You scale everything else off of propulsion. You know who agrees with him? Wario. Remember that whole bankruptcy email thing the other day? Same thing. Building rocket engines. It turns out that building rocket engines is difficult. Funny story. I know. Turns out that building those things is a little bit on the tougher side. Yeah. Arian Space are fueling up Soyuz for a launch at 7:23 Washington time. Oh, Washington time. I like that. That's funny. It's not rocket surgery. Yeah. I was hoping to get these engines for Christmas. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Last link for BE4 stuff. I know they've been doing a lot of testing. They're doing qual testing, man. Yeah, we saw this picture the other day. They're doing qual testing. It's not bicycle science. Yep. So, everything is scaled around propulsion, but he said he's going to get the engines early next year. You guys realize that's a month away, right? So we're like a month away from getting flight engines for Vulcan. I'm just putting it out there. It's all about perspective. What else does Mr. Bruno have in his stockings? I'm going to go ahead and guess it's a cowboy hat, a saddle. I was going to say a Daisy Red Rider, but Tori Bruno wouldn't have a Daisy Red Rider. He'd have a... Here, this is what he would have. No, you know what? You know what? You know what? You know what Tori Bruno would get in his stocking? Tori Bruno would get an R700. Yeah, see? He probably has a cowboy hat, a saddle, and one of those. R700. Tori's a very practical guy. Practical guy, practical firearm. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. An R700 in my stocking would be really cool. I don't know what, like... I don't really hunt, but also... R700. That's an M24, right? It is. Yeah. Nothing like that noise, man. That 300 Win Mag or nothing else in my house. Ah, I see you're a man of taste, Coltec. Do you also drink with your pinky out? I mean, 4570 if you really want to mess someone's day up or some deer's day up, right? 4570 is... I've never... actually, you know what? I've never shot 4570, so I don't know. Where does he buy the ammo? Yeah, that's the real question, man. Prices are ridiculous right now. They're ridiculous. I have. It was glorious. There's no doubt in my mind. Oh. I'll have to check that one out, Jack. Very good. Railgun slug deer hunting? Just shotgun slug. You don't need a... Dude, you don't want a slug with a deer, though, if you're going deer hunting. You need buck. It's called buckshot for a reason. I'm just putting it out there. It's called buck for a reason. Birdshot, though. You guys ever shot birdshot before? Birdshot's ridiculous. I'd rather my 58 cal Hawken black powder. God damn, Mab. Was considering a 44 mag lever action. Actually, a lot of places frown on buckshot now and want slugs. Really? Dude, not to be that guy, but I remember in BF2, I would get the shotgun with slugs and I would snipe people with it, and people would get really upset. They'd get really mad. How could you do that? How could you do that? How could you do that, man? It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Slugs. Slugs, though. It's basically a bullet for a shotgun, but it's a bullet for a shotgun that's like the size of a quarter. It's not going to go very far, right? But also, whatever it hits is also not going to go very far. Yeah. Pretty cool. T-minus 1 hour till Bicarus. That's right. 20 gauge slug. Ooh. I mean, 20 gauge, you might as well just get a rifle. I have a bunch of 50 copper slugs to hand load to hunt in Cali. Nice, nice. So over the last okay, Mac, what is this? So over the last 2 weeks, I only went to the shop once. I have my final coming up for HY201. Gotten through 5 chapters in 2 weeks. My boss is allowing me to just focus on my final. He made the joke to me this morning when we were texting. Keep up the good work. You need your degree to work in a rocket factory. This was in reference to you saying building rockets is difficult. Scale around production, man. Elon and George Bruno both say the same thing, guys. They're both saying the same thing. They're scaling everything around production. Production of rocket engines, propulsion sets the pace. Listen to Tory Bruno again.
The exciting part of any rocket development program. It is being paced by those brand new engines, their new technology and new fuel. They will be delivered to us early next year, and that will support a launch later in the year. In fact, 2 launches before the year is out.
Good. Good. Holy crap, dudes. 2022 is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. SLS is going to fly. Starship is going to fly. Vulcan is going to fly. New Glenn? Maybe New Glenn. Maybe on the New Glenn. Maybe. Grand is best. 30-06. Yeah, I'll take 30-06. Sweet. Yeah, we got Firefly that's going to fly. Oh, man, dude, there's so much. There's so much stuff. I love it. Sweet, succulent rocket engines. Wait. Yeah, James Webb's going to start it all off. Yep. Sweet, savory. ABL. Yep, we got ABL. Yep. New Glenn, no way it flies in 2022. Well, they're scaling around Vulcan production. Think about it like this: Blue Origin is using Vulcan to do research on those on the engines. They're gonna baseline it for Vulcan, and then they're gonna upgrade them to New Glenn. That's not a bad idea. That's really actually pretty smart. That's Falcon 1 to Falcon 9 smart, and they didn't even have to make Falcon 1. It's actually a pretty good position to be in now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know if RS1 is Go username. I don't think so. How about the Ohio Ordnance Semi-Auto BAR clone? The Ohio... a BAR clone? Ohio Ordnance... BAR. Oh! I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, I really like... Oh! Ho, ho. Yo! That is cool, man. Whoa, what a piece of kit. Holy balls, that's a modern BAR. Oh, I like that. I really like that a lot. Dude, look at it. It's a freaking cannon, man. It's a freaking cannon, dude. Oh, man. Bro, whatever's on the business end of this ain't living. Holy crap. Dude, that thing is a cannon. Oh my god. I love it. I love it, Winter Scythe. I want one. I want one. I want it. I want it. That's bad. Dude, that's terrible. They made the BAR into a designated marksman's rifle. Holy balls, dude. Oh my goodness. Yo, that's tight. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, that thing is cool. That thing is really cool. I want it. It's so bad. Oh man, is it still open bolt? I don't know. Let me look. Let me see that dude firing. Oh look, there's a video to accompany. All right. Whose YouTube channel is this? Okay, NRA Pubs. Oh my god, that thing is a cannon. Nope. No, that looks like closed bolt to me. That's closed bolt for sure. Did you see him fire? Okay, so see right there, the bolt is backwards. All right, the bolt's in the backwards position. This indicates a closed bolt. All right, so what does that mean? That means the bolt's already forward when you go to pull the trigger, right? As opposed to an open bolt. A machine gun, like a 240 Bravo, a 249, a Tommy gun uses an open bolt, if I'm remembering right. A MAC-10, open bolts give you a higher round per minute. You can brrr with an open bolt, but I don't think that thing's open bolt from what I just saw there. Massachusetts restricts the limits mag size to 10 rounds. Bro, that doesn't matter. Dark Vazia gifted. Hey, Vazia gifted sub to PY. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah. Bro, you didn't know I'm a gun guy too? I don't talk about it much, Cold Tech, because I keep that on the DL. You kind of have to in Massachusetts. It's kind of the way it is. I don't talk about it too much, but yeah, dude, I know guns. Sure. I'm not the best. Not the best. I know space way more than I know guns. But once again, I would have more gun analogies if I knew people would understand them. Because once again, what the gun does, a bullet's basically a solid rocket booster. But instead of shooting the entire solid rocket, it shoots a little bit of it out of barrel. That's it. It's that simple. It's still combusting powder. It's combusting grain. Only grain in guns is very different, you know? I'm getting to go out to Slick 41 for the first time tomorrow. Oh, you're in for a treat, Vulcan. Canadian here. What is gun? What is a bullet but a high velocity knife? Yeah, I remember you playing that 3D game with the guns. Tarkov. Dude, I know my firearms, right? I know my firearms. I know. Once again, not the best, but I'm interested in the mechanics of it. Go figure. Just like everything else, guns are no exception. I'm interested in the mechanics, like how an open bolt versus a closed bolt works, how a gas block works, how the stroke of the gas block on the piston changes the recoil on the weapon. For instance, here, I'll show you something. So, if we look at an M4, all right? M4s aren't really, and AR-15s, etc., they aren't really known much for their recoil, all right? There's a really good reason for that, all right? So, if you look at an M4, right? So, an M4, the round comes up here, the bolt goes back forward, it pushes it into the breech. This is pretty standard stuff, right? Pushes it into the breech, and then the hammer hits the bolt hits the primer cap on the shell casing. It ignites the propellant. I'm going to call it that because it's cooler calling it that. It ignites the propellant, and it shoots the bullet down the barrel, right? There's the gas port right there, and then there's a gas tube. Well, when the bullet goes past the gas tube, some of the explosion from the shell is going up here and back through here, okay? When it goes through the gas tube, it hits a piston, like a piston in a car. It looks exactly, well, not on an M4, it's close, right? A piston has piston rings just like anything else. I mean, the K has piston rings, but that's another story. And this carrier right here moves backwards. It goes backwards, and it's on a big recoil spring. When it goes back, it pulls the bolt. It pulls the bolt out. The bolt takes the shell casing with you, and it shoots it out the ejection port on the right side of the rifle, right-hand side. And then the bolt goes back, and the mag has a spring. The magazine has a spring, right? And it goes back forward, and it loads up another round. Now, M4s don't have a lot of recoil. Why? Why don't they have a lot of recoil? It's because Gene Stoner, when he designed this thing, designed it so the piston right here, recoils. The piston, where it goes backwards in the recoil spring is directly aligned with the buttstock. So if you look at like an AK, for instance, and this doesn't mean the AK is a bad idea. If you look at the AKM, right? See how the stock is down here? And once again, I like the AKM. I think it's a great design. It's really smart. But see how the stock kind of goes down like this? The recoil, the piston and the gas block are above where the stock is. You see that? And then the stroke of that piston, how far it goes backwards and forwards, is a lot longer. It's a long stroke gas piston, okay? So when that big piston shoots back and it's above the buttstock, it creates muzzle climb. So kickback, like that. Now the Russians had other ways. Kalashnikov had other ways to solve that problem. But if we go back over here, where the piston goes back, first of all, it doesn't go back very far. Its travel distance is a lot shorter. And then on top of that, it's lined directly up with the part that's touching your shoulder. So that combined with the 5.56 round, so it's a 22 caliber, makes a gun that can go. If you ever seen one of these things like an M16 on full rock and roll, it's just Like, you get like 800 rounds a minute, which is absurd. That's really high for an assault rifle. So literally, the piston being above where the part that's hitting your shoulder gives it more muzzle climb because the piston is above. The piston has more moment, so it creates the climb. The recoil from the gun, the barrel is directly aligned with your shoulder. So if you shoot it once, it's like duck, it's no problem. But if you shoot it a bunch of times and that thing keeps going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you're gonna get climb. Now, long story short, and the other thing is that the K has a really long distance between the two trunnions, so the bolt goes back really far. But that was Kalashnikov didn't design that and say, "Oh, I created crap rifle that has a lot of recoil." He designed it so the parts have there's a lot of tolerance between all the moving parts, which is smart. That's a smart thing to do. So like the bolt travels really far between the front and rear trunnions. It's very, very, very long. So like you can get sand in there and the bolt will just push the sand out of the way. It's not a big deal. That's why Ks are so damn reliable. You mean say hello to my little friend? Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you see in Scarface? You see him just wreck people with that thing? It's because that the piston has it's a very short stroke and it's lined up with your shoulder, which is smart. That's a really smart way to do that. Now, the cool thing is that the Russians came up with another way. Kalashnikov came up with another way to prevent muzzle climb, which is actually really smart. So check this out. See the break on the barrel? When the bullet goes out, gas gets shot up first because there's like a split second where the back of the bullet is right here and the gas is allowed to escape up. Now what they did, the reason why they did that is because that gas going up is going to create thrust and help you control muzzle climb. It helps you control the fact that the piston is shooting back and forth like crazy. Because the front of the piston is like right here. It's right here, and that's like top dead center for the piston, right? And then where the piston goes all the way back to like right here. That's a long stroke. That's a very, very long stroke. So that piston shooting back is going to make the rifle go up. So you guys want to know something cool? Kalashnikov did that diagonally cut muzzle to prevent muzzle climb. Now check this out. Let's take a look at the nozzle on Spaceship 2 here. Of course, there's no pictures with the damn nozzle. Here. Check it out. Where's the good video? No. No, no, no. So, check this out. Here, we could use this one. That's fine. Look at the nozzle on that SRB. Did you see it? It's kind of strange. It's very weird. Let's see if they show it again. Oh, interesting. The nozzle is diagonally cut on Virgin Galactic's ship. I wonder what that does. It makes the vehicle nose up because gases are expanding out this way and not downward. It makes the vehicle pitch up. That's how they get up into space. It's not like someone's flying the damn thing. They hit the rocket engine and lock the control surface except for trim and just go right up into space. Ah, thank you, Thomas. Here's a good picture. See? Literally the same thing. It's the same thing. Same exact thing as an AK. Yeah, it's a good idea. Because what is it but gas being ejected out of nozzle? Same thing with a bullet. Smart. Yeah, Foo Face. Well, they were trying to, with that diagonal break on the K, they were trying to combat the recoil from the rifle, from that piston going back and forth. Does one side have a better specific impulse? I don't think specific impulse is measured that way. But yeah, fellas, I just don't really talk about firearms too much. Like, but I know what they do. I'm interested in how they work. It's actually really cool. Like, have you seen the mechanism for a minigun? That's cool. How about M134 diagram? Minigun is weird. It's like a snowblower combined with a machine gun. It uses an auger blade like a snowblower, which is strange. Very strange. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find a good picture. No. I'm trying to see if I can find a good animation here. So, this is a YouTube video from Noble Empire. Let's see. Let's take a look. See? Look. See the auger? It basically rotates. It's using an eccentric auger to... Well, not eccentric. It's just an auger blade. Like a snowblower. See that? Is that strange or what? Look at it. Look at that. Look at the bolts moving forward and back. Man, that's... Dude. That's some next level stuff right there. It's like a snowblower almost. World of Guns. Nice. That's strange, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm interested in how they work. It's very cool. Very interesting stuff. It's like rockets, or cars, or whatever. I like mechanical things. I like mechanical things that either A, go fast, or make a big explosion. I don't know what that says about me. Alright. Rockets do both of those things. You're right! That's true! They do that! Why not both? Yeah, right? Hey, speaking of crazy space news, here, check this out, guys. You'll like this one. Uh-oh. Well, that explains your flight rate, boys. And girls. It says that you are as American as they come. What can I say, dude? Stereotypes exist for a reason. I mean, I don't know what you want. It's like, sorry. Like, no. I don't apologize. I'm American. I'm not sorry. Screw you. I don't apologize. I'm American. I don't do that. You have chosen violence. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, everybody was wondering, you know... Okay, so I said this the other day, but I didn't put two and two together. I hinted at it, but I didn't get it exactly right. What I said, everybody was saying, like, okay, Elon wants to fly Starship twice every month, once every 2 weeks, right? So twice a month. So 52 Starship launches a year, give or take. I think it's 52, right? Holy crap, I'm going to look stupid if I didn't get that right. Anyway, doesn't matter. People already think I'm stupid, so it kind of works out. So, there is 52 weeks. I didn't multiply that by 2. Thank you, Signer. See? I told you. Looking stupid is inevitable when you're a streamer. It's just a thing that happens. We're going to learn a new thing today. It's called math. And without it, none of us would exist. All right, so... You know, the programmatic environmental assessment at Boca Chica doesn't equal those numbers. They can only test so much launching out of Texas. They can't launch every day out of Texas. It'll screw up the environment too much, which I get. That's fine. I understand that. Totally cool. So everybody was like, if he wants to do that, if he wants to scale up Raptor production, where's he going to launch all this stuff from? Well, there's your answer. I'm not calling you stupid. I'm just making sure the right info is given. Don't lie. You look stupid anyway. See? Altio didn't lie to me. Thank you, Altio. I am. Bruh. I hope it will have a flame trench, though. Yeah, so Chris B asked, I'm still at 39A? Splendid. 39A is a Rockstar launch complex. Close mirror to OLS with a tower and Mechazilla starship? So many questions. 39A is hollowed spaceflight ground. No more place more deserving of a starship launch pad. We'll have similar but improved ground systems and a tower to Starbase. So, okay, cool. Pad construction is going to take time anyway, so doubt it will end in 2022. Like I said, I thought that Boca Chica's programmatic environmental assessment will outline Starship's development program. Kem, it's the development program. It doesn't outline the flights. That's not... 2023 is when we're going to see Starship fly a lot. 2022 is going to be for development. And the PEA explains exactly how much they're going to. So, 5 orbital flights this year. And I have a feeling, Kem, that they're going to come in very rapid succession. So, 5 flights. I'm guessing 1 every month. Maybe 1 every 2 months at the very, very most. I mean, 5 in 1 year, so, yeah. So they're going to build starships at the Cape now. Someone already mentioned it already, but Icarus is getting released 30 minutes early. May change your game plan. That's my secret, drummer. I have no game plan. So, that's actually really cool. So they're going to be building starships at the Cape. My guess is, yeah. I mean, check out these pictures from Harry Stranger. Take a look. Sentinel-2 passed over the Space Coast on November 26, 2021, and it was finally a clear pass. Some interesting notes on changes in the tweets below. There has been some ground clearing at 39A over the past few weeks. This should be related to the VIF due to be constructed in the near future. Oh, the VIF for Falcon Heavy. Yeah, okay. Starship already started a pad right here, but they put it on hold. SpaceX already started work a while back before COVID. Okay, all right.
Discovery,
Progress continues at Roberts Roads with the western clearing continuing, as well as a concrete slab for the hangar extension to be poured. I'm going to guess they're going to build starships at Roberts Road. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's take a look at that road. Remember what I told you guys about being able to identify a road that can take heavy loads? It's really easy to spot because it's graded. Other roads are just kind of there. A good example would be in Decatur, Alabama, where ULA makes their rockets. Check this out. If we go and look at ULA's rocket factory, which is right here, okay, it's pretty obvious to spot that some of these roads are really designed to take a lot heavier load than a regular road, okay? We've talked about this before. Look, the road construction just, for some random reason, switches from asphalt to concrete right here. See that? And why do you need a 4-lane boulevard that goes to nothing? This 4-lane boulevard just goes here. That's it. And it's all concrete. And look, check this out. There's asphalt that goes across the train tracks, asphalt that goes straight right there, and the concrete road goes this way. Oh, look, the concrete road goes right to ULA's rocket ship docking port. Huh, funny how that works. See what I'm talking about? It's very easy to spot where rocket infrastructure is supposed to go because the roads will be graded and they'll be heavy-duty roads. That's why that road is made out of concrete, because it's designed to carry the rocket boosters that get popped out of this thing. Right? It's really easy to spot it. Concrete roads, right? Take me home. No. And this road is also graded. See how it's elevated? It's elevated and it's graded straight. To be able to... Because rockets don't like being towed up a hill. That's not a good thing. Right? Hey, Emma, 2 years already. Time flies. That's concrete, baby! Rockets are generally large, but not heavy. They're heavy, Signer. Yeah, of course they're heavy. I mean, okay, not relatively heavy, but they're heavier than what, they're heavier than if you were hauling toilet paper down this road. Am I right? Like a full trailer of toilet paper? See the heavy infrastructure? Really easy to spot. Okay, I'll give you guys another example. Let's go over to New Orleans. Let's go down to Big Easy, boy. Gonna get some crawfish. Anyway, so, Michoud, where SLS cores are built. Same exact thing. See the concrete infrastructure? That concrete infrastructure is now no longer like that anymore. But I'll tell you what this kind of right away right here, you know what that was for? That was for moving that. Synerd, that is heavy. Yeah, that's very heavy. Hey, Senchai. Yeah, that's really, really heavy. Don't worry. This is an old picture. They actually put this thing inside because seeing a Saturn V outside just pisses me off. The only time a Saturn V should be outside is when it's rolling out of the VAB getting ready to launch. So, we're looking for the heavy infrastructure. Now, the heavy infrastructure was replaced by these roads. Look at this four-way intersection. That's a strange-looking four-way intersection, isn't it? Very, very weird looking. The U.S. generally doesn't have intersections that look like this. They look like that. See what I'm talking about? This is given a wide berth entirely on purpose. You know why? Because SLS cores roll out over here. They go down here. They go down over here, down this road, and they go right to NASA's loading dock, where the Pegasus barge will receive them. Right there. Look at the heavy infrastructure. See how heavy that freaking road is? They graded it and they repaved it. Another 4-lane boulevard that's seemingly in the middle of nowhere, right? There's a reason why they do this stuff. Now, with that being said, let's go look at Roberts Road. Let's go look around there and see if they've started to build out that heavy infrastructure. We might not be able to tell from Google Earth, but I could give you a good idea. So Roberts Road is right here. SpaceX has a huge Falcon 9 processing facility right here. If you watch the Inspiration 4 mission, the Inspiration 4 mission rolled out from here, not from anywhere else. They rolled out from right there. Now, let's turn on the timeline and go to the most recent picture. Oh, look, a graded road. Funny how that works. What about the vertical Saturn V? Yeah, Thany, that's okay. Why can't it be outside? Rockets do not belong outside unless they're flying, except if you're Starship. But it was basically just sitting there rotting away, which really sucks. Oh, look, check that out. That's what the road looked like before, and that's what it looks like now. See the difference? Oh yeah, they're grading out that road. I'll tell you that right now. This is from about a year ago. See the difference in the road? You see how it's up and elevated and flat and graded, as opposed to the road that was there before, which is just some dirt path? That's what I'm talking about. You got to look for this stuff. If you want to go looking on the map for rockets, you can kind of see what they're going to do. I'll give you another example. Let's go down here. Let's take a look down here. Uh-oh. Hey, why is that different? Interesting. Look at this road. What do you think that's for? That's for rolling out New Glenn. Right out of the Blue Origin facility. Damn, that's a lot of facility. Look at that thing. And they're building another one down here. Look at that. Another one. Is the Starship pad at the same complex that SpaceX is currently launching from? Yes. I have my theories on what they're going to do here. So SpaceX started building a Starship pad, and then they stopped. They stopped. I forget exactly when they stopped and why they stopped this. That was the old pad right there with the flame diverter. They changed something. But you could see there's the twin service structures, and then the launch plate would be right here, and then there's the diverter. They started building that, but then they stopped. And they also started getting the fueling infrastructure set up. They redid Pad 39A to be able to accept methane for Starship. And then they also put a landing pad right there. Now, here's what I think. This is just a theory, but here's what I think. They're gonna start building that pad right there. They're gonna get rid of this, and then they're gonna build an orbital launch mount, just like down in Texas. They're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna have a rocket launching from right here. I have a theory that they're also gonna put another pad over here. Yeah, I think they're gonna have two pads here. 2 pads would be enough to achieve the flight rate and have redundant dissimilar capability. Why do I think that? They're doing the same thing in Texas where the frequency of launches is even lower. So if you're gonna do 104 launches in 1 year, you're gonna need 2 pads just to be absolutely sure in case something happens. I think they're gonna build another one right here. If you really want my honest opinion, they're gonna build another one mirrored right there. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, I have an idea. Because Texas need Florida man's help, so we sent all the people. Yeah, right. The Roberts Road permits will be 12 meters wide with a lot of cleared areas on the side. Boom. There you go. Yes, they're going to build starships in Texas. Or they're going to hop them. Hip hop? Hip hop anonymous? Oh. Muriel says, hey, Scott, happy to get to... Whoa. Hello. Well, that's pretty neat. 2 pads that use the same facility. I think so, Chief. And Vasia, that's really cool. I'm in. Neutron is cool. That's a really good idea. I like it. There's a reason there's still crawler talk. You think so, Goalie? Do you really think that SpaceX is going to lease a high bay in the VAB? Do you really think that? I mean, I wouldn't be against it. And a clean pad crawler design for Starship might not be the worst idea. Vasia, okay, all right, okay. I just had, Goalie just kind of incepted this idea here. All right. I know Icarus is ready, guys. Let's talk about space, okay? Let's talk about space, baby. All right, so the VAB is big enough for a Starship stack on a launcher. We know that because it's about the same size as a Saturn V, just a little bit taller. And if it's a little bit taller, it can still fit. Think about this for a second. SpaceX is looking to catch the booster, right? They're looking to catch it. You know, I literally just said in the same breath a second ago that they're going to need 2 pads. If a pad gets damaged, why don't you just pick it up and put it in there and fix it and then use another... Ooh, that's a good idea. I don't think that's going to work. Does it have a path to 39A? Not launching from 39A. Crawler design would help with DoD launches. Huh. Oh, please. It's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. Oh, dear. If the infrastructure is already built, why not rent it? Yeah. 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 Why? Yeah. No, I mean, heck, you don't even need a crawler transport, but you could. You could grab a crawler transport, right? I mean, they're going to need to take Starship off of the crane eventually. And the crawler way is already there. Holy crap. There is a possibility in the future that we could see SLSs rolling out of the front of the VAB and Starships rolling out the back of the VAB. Not necessarily on a crawler transporter, AJ. Not on a crawler transporter. But SpaceX will modify the back two high bays of the VAB for building starships, for putting the rings together. You can build super heavies and starships inside of the VAB. That's what it was designed to do. Is that why SLS is only using 2 bays in the VAB? That's just coincidence, Sprem. Keep in mind, this whole thing could be coincidence. So, guys, I'm not necessarily, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they're going to have like a crawler transport because somebody said it. You can't get to 39A. Falcon 9's HIF is in the way. But I don't see why SpaceX wouldn't want to use the VAB to build starships there or store them. Heck, there might be some scenario in the future where they fly them to KSC and store them inside of the VAB for payload integration. Ooh. Move the HIF. Now, Geeson, that's what I would want. That's what I would want to do. But honestly, a starship with a crawler transporter and just the catcher arms on this, right? On the mobile launcher is not a bad idea. That's a really smart idea. Because if you damage one, you could pick it up off the pad. But that means they would need to retool the entirety of 39A for Starship, which they're not going to do because Falcon. Oh, I can dream though. I can dream though. Once Starship is running, SpaceX will retire Falcon 9. Falcon missions are slated into the late 2020s, Bandit, for at least another 10 years. They're going to ramp down Falcon 9 and ramp up Starship. Yeah, goalie. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. You can put the Falcon 9 HIF over where you thought they would be building starships and build starships in the VAB, right? Well, the HIF needs the transporter erector. It needs the TE. So they would need to... Hang on one second. All right. I know Icarus is out. I want to play Icarus, but I also want to sit here and discuss this. This is very interesting. Even if I'm wrong, it's still cool to theory craft it. The TEL is on rails. Exactly, goalie. The transporter erector has train tracks. See the tracks? And then it has a center right away. You can't put a crawler on this. It'll crush the train tracks. So that's out the door. SpaceX wouldn't build a high bay here. That makes no sense. Well, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. She don't turn. It could though, goalie. The transporter erector can turn. If you made the train tracks turn, it can do it. The reason I know is because that's exactly what it does at Vandenberg. See? Falcon 9 takes a big left-hand turn to the pad. See what I'm talking about? Same HIF and everything. But it's important to note that the one at Slick 4 is not on rails. It's on wheels. 747 wheels, if you want to be precise. Yeah, seriously. Go look at Vandenberg's transporter erector wheels. They're aircraft wheels. Is it this picture from Mike Sheets? Yeah, that was from an old draft assessment, I think. Awesome. I don't think that's even what it's called. ExoMars testing. Very nice. They're not going to demolish this building here. That makes no sense. That's a temporary tent. We know from Texas at Highway 4 that it can go down this road. It can go down a 2-lane road. Starship can do that. That's no problem. So my guess is they're probably just going to have it go through here. But what's that shading to the left of the HIF? Oh. That's graded out. Wait a minute. That's graded terrain. Wait, was that always like that? Hold on. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. No, SpaceX graded that terrain out over here. There was a retaining pond right there, and then in 2017 they filled in the retaining pond. See? What the heck are they? Whoa. What's that about? That's graded terrain, guys. Okay, so why am I so obsessed with graded terrain? You grade terrain like this if you're going to build a structure on it. You think? Do you think? You think they would? You think they would just move the entire HIF over here? I don't know. Is that what's going to happen, or is that something that I want to happen? Go further back in time. What did it look like during the shuttle? Nothing. It's just an empty field. Now, that culvert is still there, but that's for drainage for the pad. See the culverts? They're on both sides. It's drainage for 39A. You have to do that in Florida. It rains a lot. Now, Squish, I know you know that. I know, S. I know. The HIF just bolts together. It wouldn't take much to move it. And we know that SpaceX has been pretty laissez-faire about this kind of stuff. They built Starship in tents, for Christ's sake. But do you think they would just pick this building up and move it right there? The angle is right, fellas. The angle is right for a, to build like a HIF right here. Actually, it would need to start right here, and then it would need to curve like this. That's a sharp turn, guys. I don't think so. It would be cool. It would be cool if they built this and then they reactivated the crawlerway so they could use the VAB crawlers to move starships to the pad. That would be really friggin' cool, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. The HIF is, yeah, it's anchored into the ground with concrete. Of course it is. It's a heavy building, Lunprod. And not only is it anchored into the ground with concrete, the concrete foundation for the HIF is really built up. You know why? Because it holds something that's heavy. It's almost like the ground is squishy, especially in Florida. Last, what's up? So about that, NASA put out an RFI a few months ago about the use of High Bay 2 and had one response about it. They put out an NOI very recently. Notice of intent, VAB High Bay 2. NASA is hereby publicly announces intent to proceed with a partnership for use in the High Bay 2 at the John F. Kennedy Space Center. Dude, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to use the VAB to build starships. They're going to do that. Now, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get the starships from the VAB to the pad. But it could be something as simple as SPMTs. That's what they use now. Holy crap, dude. I can say with pretty reasonable confidence that SpaceX is going to build starships in the VAB. Those are old Starship parts, Andy, but yeah, you're right. Dude, maybe they'll manufacture the rings at Roberts Road and then assemble the thing in the VAB. Unless they're talking about assembling a Starship sideways, like horizontal joining, I don't think they're going to do that because they already did vertical. Is a 39B Starship out of the question? I wouldn't rule it out, Driados, but I'm saying overwhelmingly no. SpaceX has the entirety of 39A. They're going to launch from there. Now, the real question is, how? The Roberts Thing Road was shut down by Oak Hill Rednecks like 4 years ago. What they could do is use the VAB to construct starships and then move Super Heavy and Starship on the SPMTs. Yeah, Bandit, that's what... Yeah, I said that. Yeah, you're right. I agree. Do you think SpaceX would really move this entire thing over here so they could get a crawler up here? Dude, you know what else that I was thinking? Starship's pad is blatantly going to be over here. They already got the fueling infrastructure and the retention ponds dug. Do you think they would just extend the crawler way this way? Maybe, like, why not just go around? Do you think they would do that? Oh, snap. What's that, Alex? Historical contract for the acquisition of 80 Rafale F4s by the UAE. Hey, all right. Get them contracts, boy. You're talking about a company that is building a rocket for 100 people in the middle of nowhere. They can do anything. That's a very good point. Dude, how wide is the crawler? How wide's the crawler way? With the road included. It's 160 feet. How wide's the crawler bay itself? 140 wide, 160, because it's a standard 2-lane road. Let's go from there. Nice. So 155 if we get a little bit more precise. There's enough space. There's enough space to just go around the HIF, guys. They could do it. They could reroute this road right here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's definitely enough room to do that. I would watch right here. Oh. See if they're grading anything, which they absolutely are. No, that looks like they're going to dig a retention pond right there. Don't think SpaceX needs a crawler to transport Starship? No, they use SPMTs. Awesome, dude. What I'm saying is, what if SpaceX adopted a clean pad design? A clean pad design. 39A is already built for it. Now, okay, hear me out. I know this sounds stupid, and it's probably not a thing. I will tell you this right now. This is me being excited about it, so it's probably not a thing. But listen. We've all talked about how SpaceX... Like, how are you going to catch the booster without it damaging the pad? Right? How are you going to do that? Doing this makes a lot more sense in that regard. Having a catch tower, Mechazilla, and the orbital launch mount on a crawler. Because then if the pad gets damaged, you could just pick it up and move it and then install another pad. Because if anything's going to get damaged, it's going to be the orbital launch mount or the pad. Can you imagine SpaceX building orbital launch mount crawlers? Orbital launch mount mobile launchers? Mobile Mechazilla. If they adopted a clean pad design... Alright, Bandit, what is this? I spoke to Tom Angler, NASA KSC Director of Planning and Development, about SpaceX's plan at Starship 39A. If you look at the history of the launch pad, this is probably right in line with how it was meant to be used. Right in line with how it was meant to be used, huh? Only problem is that it moves slow. So do the SPMTs, Tomast. The self-propelled modular transporters don't go fast. The ones that they use to move Starship right now. How big would the pad or the crawler be if SpaceX put Super Heavy on it? It's about the same size and diameter as a Saturn V, Drool. What do you mean by clean pad design? So a clean pad design... Okay, look. So, Tech, you'll understand this, because this goes back to the Apollo era. If you look at a picture of 39A, or 39B now, you look at 39A during the Apollo program, okay? It doesn't have all this stuff from the space shuttle on the sides. It's a clean pad. It's just a flame trench with some posts on it. Everything that they use to get to the pad can move on the crawler transporters. The reason why Von Braun is the guy that came up with this. The reason why he came up with moving the entire freaking launch pad is because building a building in one spot that builds and stacks a Saturn V would sink into the ground. That's why the VAB is all the way over there. It's 2.5 miles away. Because if they built the VAB and the launch pad in the same spot, Florida soil wouldn't be able to take a building that heavy. That's why it uses a mobile launcher, because you have to, right? So the pads, if you look at the launch pads, right? They're clean. There's nothing on them. That's what they look like. All you have is the hookup for the water lines and the hookup for the fuel lines right there. And that's it. SpaceX could do this. They could do this with Starship and it would make sense. You also don't want to blow up the VAB. Yeah. There's also that. See what I mean? That's a clean pad. Like the Apollo era. And Apollo even had modular flame diverters, so they could, if the pad needed to be refurbished, they could take the diverter out, move it over here, fix it, and roll another one in. True story. Guys, it is a distinct possibility that SpaceX, it's unlikely. Don't get me wrong, it's unlikely, but we could see a Starship roll out of the VAB like that someday. Can I get a link to the notice of intent? Thomas, link up the notice of intent again, please. I highly doubt they'd make a mobile net Mechazilla. It would be unstable when catching. Entropy, I don't know how you can make something that's strong enough to withstand a rocket launch, but not strong enough to withstand a rocket being caught. If you can withstand the torque of a rocket separating from it and lifting off, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to... See last, derrick pads can be replaced too, being on the ocean. What? That makes sense. The floating pads can do the same. Because it might not land dead center. This thing has a crane. Okay, guys, look. See up here? See this thing up here? That's a crane. All right, it's a crane with a counterweight. That crane pivots. They did that so they could, if they needed to integrate a payload, right? This crane can pivot, pick a payload up, and install it on the top of Saturn V if they needed to. That is literally the exact same movement that Mechazilla uses. It's the exact same moving left to right, only Mechazilla can go up and down too. But the tower for Starship Super Heavy isn't supporting them when it launches, right? That's what the launch mount is for, I thought. Nerd, I'm talking about building the launch mount into Mechazilla, like this. Guys, you know what? It makes sense. As far-fetched as it might sound, that makes sense. So let's look at this. Configuration with 39. Fellas, look. Why would Starship's integration road be like this? Why would it be diagonal to the crawler way? Long story short, why would it line up with the crawler? See that? Hey, Lopi, good to see you again. Why don't we just build Mechazilla if we can build crawler launchpad that can turn and have claws? Why don't we just build Mechazilla? Oh, yeah, not have it mobile, Reveril. Yeah, that's the one kind of monkey wrench in the idea. Why not just build Mechazilla here and then roll Starship and Super Heavy on SPMTs to the pad like what they do in Texas? That makes the most sense. But see, well, that's obviously not a crawler way right there. But we did get that road pretty much right. I said that it was going to come through here. But see this thing right here, fellas? I want to go back into Google Earth real quick. That road. How long has that thing been there? Because it looks like they're grading a road that connects right here. You can kind of see it almost, right? Let's take a look here. I'm interested. How long has that thing been there? Okay, it's been there since before SpaceX got the pad. Okay. Looks like an old parking area. If I had to guess, it's a place for remote cameras. Remote and tracking cameras, if I had to guess. So that culvert is right there, and they'd have to divert the culvert, right? And they did, right? Actually, it just goes under right there. Okay. All right. The outline that we're seeing is the old drainage culvert. Got it. So it looks like they're gonna... It looks like they would connect the road here, but I think that's just... The drainage culvert is an optical illusion to make it look like they're grading that, but they're not. But they did put a retention pond here that does connect into the existing drainage culvert that goes into Gator Hole right here. See that? Interesting. What the hell are they up to? Opinion on Jeddah. Fast. Dangerous. But fast. I don't mind it, to be honest, Forge. It's a little narrow, though. It's not going to be a lot of room for passing. It's going to race like Monaco. We got to figure out how outdated this is. Oh, look. So look at this picture by John Krause here. Oh, first of all, fantastic picture. Second of all, look, the drainage ditch. It goes around the pad. See that? So I highly doubt they're going to build a road here. Well, no, but then the plans say that they're going to. But they would most likely not dig out a low point right here in the retention pond if they were going to do that. I would guess that, see this right here, that maybe the road would go this way. Huh. Is there a drainage ditch on the other side? There's a retention pond right there. And then you got a big berm that they built out right here. I don't see any drainage culvert. Yep, there it is, right there. Bandit, you can barely see it, but it's there. Guys, the reason why I'm like pointing out all the drainage culverts and everything is because you can see what they're doing. Drainage and irrigation is the first thing that goes in. That goes in before that goes in even before the foundations go in. figuring that out is very important because you don't want your castle to fall into the swamp. Because it is a swamp. Yeah, it looks like there's one right there. Bandit, yeah. Yeah, that spot has a bunch of trailers on it. I see it. Yep, yep. Would the vibrations from the motors have the potential to unsettle loose ground? Jaeger, there's a reason why they built this on a big dirt and concrete mound when they wanted Saturn V's to take off. There's a really good reason why they did that. They did this to be able to handle the weight, and they made the pad really wide so it could spread the weight from the Saturn V and the mobile launcher fully fueled over a long period, over a wide surface area, so the load would be less. That's why these pads are so ridiculously huge. Also, they made this a blast detonation area. It's called, this kind of octagonal tile right here is called a BDA. It's not octagonal, but this outer perimeter, blast detonation area. There's a reason why there's a fence right here. Can the Cape support the launch cadence? Of course they can. Tweet from Harry. All right, let me take a look. Yeah, .com, I like it. They're doing something over here. See that? Does that line up with what Mikey posted here? Previous water percolation pond. Yep. They're digging out something over there. New water tank farm. Impervious water retention pond. Starship pad, landing zone, Starship road. Well, this is... the road goes this way. See that? Road goes that way now. Would you rather the first manned Mars-bound ships be launched from Boca and the Cape? I don't care, Pigsig. We just got to do it. I don't care where it goes from. It could go from the middle of Kentucky for all I care. I don't care. Guys, I think they're going to use the VAB. I think that's the real big takeaway here. They're going to use the VAB. SpaceX is going to build starships inside of the vehicle assembly building. I understand the sentiment, but Kentucky, I just picked a random state. Yeah, Forge. Yeah, they're going to do it. Now, once again, I think that's pretty straightforward. That's a pretty easy thing to understand. Now, Forge, what I'm wondering is if they're going to use the mobile launchers. Are they going to make their own ML? Maybe they'll launch Starship from 39B. How ridiculous would that actually be? I don't think they're going to do that, but... I'm not sure, Jack. If I had to guess, knowing SpaceX to keep the costs down, they're probably just going to build them in there. They're probably going to build in High Bay 2 and do ring stacking in there. And then, my guess is that they're going to make the rings rings, nose cones, sub-assemblies are going to be made at Roberts Road. It's going to be stacked and built inside of the VAB, and then they'll roll on SPMTs to the to 39A. That's my guess. Current look at 39A on the bottom. What is this? What are they doing there? Oh! Crane is up. Uh-oh.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, there's the IXB mission right there. Pile driving. Yep. I don't know if that's necessarily pile driving, but there's a Liebherr crane right there. Could be an 11,000. It looks the part. Interesting. Huh. Well, that's exciting. That's really exciting news, dudes. So, fellas, we got a Soyuz launch that's happening very soon, but it's also launch day for Icarus. So, I want to get into that as well. See previous pulls. Here's a good view of the pads. Yeah, nice. How deep is the bedrock there? It's Florida. It's a long way down. It's a 1300. I just want to see a Starship roll out of the VAB on a mobile launcher. That would make me so happy. That would make me so happy to see. Oh my god. I just want to see. I'm sorry, I can dream. I just want to see that. Alright, so the Soyuz launches at 7:23. We got a little bit of time. I'm looking to play what's this, goalie? Okay. I want to play some Icarus. Icarus released today. Like to do that. Huh. Okay. Yeah, nice. I don't care, Metroid. They're probably just going to use SPMTs. I think they're going to use High Bay 2 to stack, just to build super heavies, to put the rings together. That's what makes the most sense. Exactly, Solar Lander, yeah. And Blue Origin could, but they built their own dang freaking VAB, so. Yeah, fellas, most likely ring production at Roberts Road. Integration and stacking in the VAB. And then SPMTs taking starships and super heavies down the road on the crawlerway to 39A. That's probably what's going to happen most likely. It's going to be exactly like Texas. But also, it would be cool to see a starship roll out of the VAB. Yeah, the VAB is a high bay. They can already integrate there. SpaceX won't do this. Wait, Goalie, what is this and when was this picture taken? Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, I know. Okay, never mind. But is the VAB a Peepo wide bay? Yep. Yep. Hey, sorry for this, but I was reading a PDF earlier. Can you check page 31 and read the last paragraph, please? Okay. What am I looking at here? You like to post stuff without context, Forge, so... This is a Human Exploration Operations Mission Directorate Strategic Campaign Operations Plan for Exploration. September 28, 2021, baseline. 31. The last paragraph of 31. I think, Thomas, I think that's the most likely thing. But it would also be cool to see one roll out. Delivery of the Mars Transit Habitation System, known as the Transit Habitat, occurs during this segment. The Transit Habitat is assumed to be delivered to the Gateway in rectilinear halo orbit by commercial launch vehicles. The TH is designed to extend stays on Gateway beyond 60 days, up to 2 to 3 years, consume it with Mars mission durations, and to operate independently away from Gateway. Additional logistics will be needed to supply Gateway and the transit habitat to support longer duration stays. Extended duration missions will also include the need to extend the certification life for systems on Orion. Yeah, Orion needs a better service module. Service module is caca. No offense to the Europeans. It's not that you guys can't build one. That we just went with the off-the-shelf component and then decided that we need to redesign everything on that off-the-shelf component to make a service module for the HTV work for Orion, which is dumb, but whatever. The TH will function as a point of logistics applications. The TH will have multiple docking ports to accommodate and augment Gateway capability. Ultimately, the transit habitat will serve as the in-space crew habitat for Mars missions. Fellas, do you recall yesterday? Ford, do you recall yesterday the space station contract that NASA put out? NASA put out contracts for commercial low Earth orbit development, right? And then they posted a bunch of pictures of different space stations from Blue Origin, Northrop Grumman, so Orion is not going to Mars? No, that's not what that says at all. You remember how Northrop Grumman said that their space station is going to be a duplicate of Gateway? Well, I'll tell you what, that does not look like a duplicate of Gateway. You know what that looks like? A transfer habitat. I mean, look at the diameter of this thing. That's huge. It's wider than Dragon. We know that the Dragon 2 is 3.7 in diameter. There's a Cygnus right there. These things are the size of space station modules. I'm pretty sure the Halo outpost on Gateway is not that big. And if it is, well, that's an extended variant of it. The Halo is not that long, I know that. And what the hell's on the front of this? What is this? I have a feeling you might be looking at your transfer habitat right there. But that's just a theory. Boss Icarus. It's not a Soyuz docking port. It's wider than a Soyuz's. Period. Forge, I have a feeling that that's what you're reading about, that transfer habitat. Either that or NASA's gearing up to build a Copernicus. Which is personally what I think is the right idea. That is what we should make. Nuclear-powered transfer stage with a drop tank and a HAB module with Orion up at the front. This is what we should have made. This was Constellation. We should have done this. And we should, well, not should have. We should still do it. Straight up. What is that thing? That is the end goal for Constellation, Sile. Ares 5 was going to put this into space in 3 segments. 1, 2, and 3. This is what Constellation would have used to get people to Mars. Looks insane? Oh, it is insane. Wait until I tell you what it does. This thing does a boost on transmartian injection. You have 2 Orions here. One is to deliver crew, the other one is the lifeboat for crew, right? Or it can just carry both of them, it doesn't really matter. It could do either one, because these things can gimbal, and that's a long way, and it's not shooting your center of mass off by much. Now, you want to hear something even crazier? This thing spins. End over end. End over end to provide a outward acceleration at 9.81 meters a second per second, so the crew can walk around inside of these HAB modules. It was supposed to spin. Supposed to spin end over end. That's why the vehicle is so dang long. Yeah. That was the plan. So here, I'll use this dragon as an example. Say this is the thing. It was supposed to do this. It's a good trick. Yeah. So this thing was supposed to spin end over end to keep gravity on the crew for 3 months. Solar panels can handle that pull? Sure. Why not simulate Mars gravity if that's where you're going? I don't know. How would it stop the tumble? RCS. See the reaction control thrusters right there and right there? There you go. Guys, this was just a concept. It never reached paper. It was just a paper design. So these images are just concepts. So if you're like, well, what about the solar panels? Well, here. Look at that concept then. If the solar panels popping off doesn't look right to you, how about that one? How long could Orion stay up there connected to any station? 200 days? 200 days in low power mode, goalie. Artemis 1 is testing that exact system. Artemis 1 is testing what Orion will be able to do in sleep mode. It's evaluating its performance in sleep mode. They're going to send it to distant retrograde, and it's going to stay out there for a pretty long time. Artemis 1 is going to take like 2 weeks, guys. It's a long mission. I see myself getting sea space sick with the tumbling. Why? You have no point of reference. There's no parallax. You're out in space. "200 days to Mars and back." It's not 200 days to Mars and back, goalie. This is what I keep telling you guys. Orion's service module sucks. It's terrible for Martian architecture. It's terrible. It's frankly not the best for lunar architecture either, if you want my honest opinion. I do not like that Orion cannot get to low lunar. That's really stupid. That's a really stupid thing to do. But then again, I don't know more than NASA, so there's a reason why they designed it that way, and they designed it because Orion doesn't need to go to low lunar. Because of Gateway's orbit. Gateway's in a special type of orbit that literally, it doesn't require less delta V, but Gateway is where it is, goalie, and they designed Orion around that to be able to get to Gateway, so commercial launch vehicles can get to Gateway. Because despite Gateway being basically 5/6 of the way to the lunar surface, you know that distances doesn't mean dick in spaceflight. That means nothing. 5/6 of the way to the lunar surface is like 50% of the delta V that you need to get to the lunar surface. Gateway is positioned in a spot where commercial launch vehicles can get at it, like Falcon Heavy, like Vulcan. Proton could even send a reasonable payload out there, no problem. It takes the whole circularizing in low lunar orbit, which is very delta V intensive, and then the 5 kilometers a second delta V that you need to get down to the lunar surface. It doesn't do that part. That's why Orion is built the way that it is. Personally, I think that's a dumb idea. I think that's really not smart. I don't like that. But once again, NASA, I don't know better than NASA. There's a reason why they're doing it that way, and I don't know why. I prefer to have a capsule that could get to low lunar, just in case something goes wrong. What if something goes wrong with the lander when you're in low lunar orbit? What if you strand yourself in LLO? There's no way to get back to the gateway. See what I'm talking about? That's increasing mission risk, not decreasing it. Having Orion have the delta V to be able to go to low lunar orbit if needed is a good idea. That should have been baselined in its configuration, and it was in Constellation, but we didn't do that. Yeah, Orion can't go to low lunar. The service module is very underpowered. It's not a good idea. That thing needs an Apollo-style service module. Well, the service module was originally designed for general low Earth orbit operations to the ISS with Ares 1, and then the more massive Ares 5 or transfer vehicles as part of the Constellation program. Gateway's orbit was specifically designed due to the lack of delta V that Orion's system provides. Nightmare trying to piece together architectures not originally designed as such. Nice, Andy. That's cool. Who wanted me to see the last? Oh, Force, what's up? Your head feels slightly less force than your feet. That's what causes the nausea. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I know they designed it that way because, yeah. It's not comprehensive enough. It's okay, but it's not comprehensive enough. That's always been my critique with SLS. But on the other hand, I'm not going to say that SLS should be canceled. That's also a really stupid thing to say. You know? We need an upgraded service module from Orion, guys. That's what needs to happen. It needs a bigger service module. It's not good for Mars missions. It needs a bigger one. So, Goalie, the way I see it is that if you design a module that's big enough for Orion to be able to get to LLO with solar panels and the necessary systems on board, if you have enough delta V to get to LLO, that means you could theoretically increase the ECLS on it, right? You make because life support systems scale pretty linear, believe it or not. Literally, it's one of those things. You want to be up there longer, bring more oxygen with you. It scales pretty linearly. You could just make a bigger life support system for a bigger capsule. Just like they made a bigger life support system for the space shuttle. That was never a problem with the space shuttle. The life support systems on the space shuttle they never had any problems with that. Right? Because it was just the Orion service modules expanded. Straight up. You can go look that up if you want. ECLS is really easy to scale. It's one of those things that you just make a bigger one. So if we have a bigger service module with more delta V, that means, you know, you could have a bigger ECLS system. You could have a bigger ECLS on it. Bigger life support systems on it. And that's what they need to do with Orion. That's going to happen soon. If we're serious about going to Mars in the 2030s, you should probably think about doing that like right now. And from this technical document this technical document from that Forge linked up pretty much says that. But yeah, anyway, really good theory crafting going on. The fact that we can discuss this and we're discussing what is needed to make a more sustainable lunar program because we have the means to get stuff there is actually pretty cool. That's a really awesome thing in my mind. You don't need bigger ECLS on Orion. That's what the systems on the transfer habitation are for. Orion only needs a few weeks of life support consumables the way I see it. Yeah, but there are certain systems that have a shelf life on it that are associated with the environmental control systems signer, just like Dragon. Breaking news. Oh, boy. I want to play Icarus, man. NASA to secure additional commercial crew transportation. Yeah, saw that one coming. They need it for Cleod. Commercial low Earth orbit destinations. I said that yesterday from that meeting, dudes. That's the reason why Boeing is so committed to getting Starliner to fly. A lot of people asked me in the past, yo, there's going to be no ISS by the time Starliner gets up and running. Yeah, there's going to be no ISS, but there's going to be 3 other stations with docking ports that are capable of receiving Starliner. Because Starliner and Dragon have the same docking port on purpose, the International Docking System Standard. That's why Boeing is willing to take a pay hit on OFT-2 and get Starliner operational, because they're anticipating the commercial low Earth orbit economy that's going to come from retiring the ISS. Just like the commercial launch market that emerged from retiring the space shuttle. See, those guys ain't stupid, man. That's really smart. What's that, Vasya? Peter is disappointed. Nice. Is Dragon a part of that? Yeah, of course, Anita. NASA site almost had the kiss of death there. The fact that we can do that, Devlin, makes me happy. That tells me that there's a lot of space fans that are interested in this conversation that are watching this stream. That makes me really happy. Could a Dragon and Starliner dock together? Yes. So Goalie, the IDSS is based off of the androgynous peripheral attachment system, which means you can have active and passive versions. An active version can passivate itself and get docked to, or it can activate it and dock to something else. But also at the same time, with the International Docking System Standard, you have ones that can be active or passive, right? They can go back and forth. Then there's also a version of the IDSS that's just designed to receive. The ones that are just designed to receive are the ones that are on the international docking adapters that Dragon is docked to right now. That is a passive IDSS. There's a passive one, and then there's an active passive one. Dragon has an active passive, so something could dock to Dragon, or Dragon could dock to something else. Like Dragon could dock to the space station. The space station couldn't dock to the Dragon. It doesn't work that way. Their docking port is not active passive. Dragon only has active. Are you nervous? I thought you could take the active one and passivate it so it can be docked to. Am I incorrect in reading that? You tell me, dude. I'll defer to your judgment. No, all right. So that's incorrect. Dragon cannot passivate. So there's only active and passive, Goalie, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in the long run. But maybe that could just be, let's make it just active right now and we'll work on passivating systems later, which is most likely what's going on. With a change up in NASA, is Artemis ever going to fly at this point? Claude Voy, I'll be honest with you, dude. I was super, super, super skeptical of rebaselining everything, and that press interview really freaked me out about Artemis updates, taking 2024 off the table, delaying this, delaying that. I got really worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. That really freaked me out. Rebaselining is a no-no word that you hear. That usually leads to cancellation. However, this came out yesterday, and I want to show you guys this. Chris B posted this. Look, read what this says. NASA has awarded the Booster Production and Operations Contract, BPOC, to Northrop Grumman to build SLS boosters to support 9 flights. Contract is worth $319 billion. 9 flights, 18 boosters, $319 billion till 2031. Supporting flights through Artemis 9 through 2031. You know what that tells me? NASA is planning to launch a lot of missions between now and 2031, at least 9 flights. That contract also states that Artemis 9 will be the first Block 2 SLS to fly. Now, that shows me pretty significant intent to launch SLS at least once a year, starting in 2024, which the only thing we really need is that block buy. And I said this yesterday, the block buying of core stages. If Bill pulls the trigger on the block buy, I will stop making fun of him immediately. It's secretly for 18 Ares 1 flights. You can't. Why would you even say that, Vasya? Why would you even make that up? That's not funny. That's not funny, dude. Don't do that to me. I'm still going to make pudding jokes. I'm still completely against the rebaselining. The rebaselining just moves the goalpost. These plans were already in the works from a couple of years ago, so rebaselining just moves it down. I'm with you on that one, Rocket Guy. Rocket Guy, let me put it to you like this. I was talking to certain people. It's not as bad as it seems. It's still not good. But once again, the fact that the fact that NASA pulled the trigger on this is reassuring me a little bit. I'm still like, but that shows pretty good intent right there. Rebaselining is a no-no. Anytime you hear rebaselining, something bad is about to happen. But once again, history doesn't repeat; it rhymes. You know what I mean? So just because they rebaselined it now doesn't mean that it's getting canceled. I don't think Artemis is going anywhere. I just think it's going to take longer, which I have a problem with. NASA keeps talking about sustainability. You want sustainability, 4 SLS launches a year is a good way to sustainably keep a lunar base running correctly. Yeah. Economy, I've been saying this, I've been beating this drum since I figured this out. Economies of scale is the only way to beat this problem. Okay, so Elon, for instance, uses the running analogy of like, oh, how stupid would a 747 be if we dumped it every time? That's right. If you flew a 747 from New York to freaking London and then got rid of it and then bought another 747 to fly back, that doesn't make any sense. You know what also doesn't make sense? Flying the 747 from New York to London once a year. That also makes no sense. See what I'm talking about? Anybody that knows anything about airplanes knows if that airplane is sitting on the ground, it's wasting money. Rockets are the same way. It doesn't matter if it's reusable or not. See what I'm talking about? If the 747 was cheap enough to be flown and thrown away every day, it would still make economic sense. So economies of scale, the only reason that keeps the 747 cost effective is it's rapidly reusable. You fly it a lot. Even if it is reusable, it doesn't make any sense if you don't fly it a lot. Right? Like the space shuttle. Flying once every 3 months, not good enough. Needs to go faster. The only way to beat this problem is economies of scale. It doesn't matter if it's expendable or reusable. Reusability will help, though. Why would you want to fly to London? It was an example. Yeah, over Thunder. What a train wreck that meeting was. Did you read the NASA press? Doesn't seem that good for Starliner. No. What do you mean doesn't seem that good for Starliner? Starliner's fine. Look. Nitrogen tetroxide permeating through Teflon and creating nitric acid in the seals is one. That's behavior that they found on the shuttle. So they have a benchmark for why that's going on. Figuring out why it happened, though, is very difficult to understand. It requires an extensive fault tree analysis because these are the same valves that they used on the shuttles in the shuttle OMS pods. However, guys, here's the thing. If it happened once and the valves got sticky, and then you replace them and they work fine, that tells you there's a problem with the valve, right? They replaced the valves a second time. That's the one thing that everybody overlooks. They had sticky valves. The valves literally corroded. They rusted from the inside out because nitrogen tetroxide is terrible stuff for metal. A lot of rocket propellant that people don't know is bad for the rocket engine. Yeah. If you leave oxidizer inside of your rocket engine after you shut it off, when you get back to it, it's going to be rusty. Yeah. Spoiler alert, oxygen oxidizes stuff. I know. Funny concept. The fact that they replaced the valves and those valves stuck as well is not good. That means that it's not the valves. It's something upstream. Something else is causing those valves to get sticky, and that's going to require a pretty hard fault tree analysis. However, Starliner is not flying operational missions yet. If this problem happened on orbit, then I would say Starliner is in trouble. But the fact that they discovered this problem and they identified this behavior before they got anywhere near putting people on it is a good thing. No one's going to convince me otherwise, because that's not true. If you're having problems during operational missions, that's a problem. Problems during the test flight regime? No, that's not a bad thing. That's like saying SN8 not landing and blowing up on the pad is bad for the Starship program, even though it did that. You know what I mean? No. You want to find problems now. Look, It's going to take 6 months to figure that out. 6 months is nothing. I'll wait an extra 6 months to be able to have 2 ways to get into space from the US. That's fine. I'll do that. Look, I get it. It doesn't look good, but you know what? Safety doesn't care about how you feel. You do not want to kill somebody on this capsule. And Boeing knows that. And it's funny because people badmouth them all the time like they don't know what they're doing. It's like, okay. They know what they're doing, dude. It's just sometimes this takes time. Look, the fact that they caught that problem during a test flight is a good thing. It's going to make the capsule more safe. They figured out a way to not use those valves. And it goes back to a bigger thing that I'd like to tell people. You have to understand what you made. Okay? They use math to figure out how to make it. All right? And then they make it. And then if the vehicle is doing something that doesn't correlate to the math, right? Then you got a problem. But also at the same time, there might be unknown behavior that wasn't predicted with the math. Math is not super precise in some ways. There's no way to predict how every single component is going to interact with each other. That's the thing that we try to fix with computer simulation, to be able to figure that out. That unfortunately is very time consuming. It's almost better to just put the capsule out and test it, like SpaceX, right? That gives you better testing criteria. Oh, nice, KevHawk. They are really cool, aren't they? Really dude, it's light years ahead of every other plane. So you have known knowns, and you have to test those known knowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. There's stuff that you just can't predict. That's always going to happen. There's always surprises, like Starship ingesting nitrogen into the engines and causing the engine to do that. There's unknown unknowns. You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes you just got to test it. But finding these problems and understanding these failure modes and understanding all the ways to not launch people into space is going to make you better at launching people into space. This is true for SpaceX. It's true for Boeing. It's true for NASA. It's true for Sierra Space. It's true for Northrop Grumman. It's true for everybody. That's just Spaceflight 101. You have to understand what you made. What is the current-ish timeline for Artemis missions? Artemis 1 should be 2022. Artemis 2 is going to be 2024. Artemis 3 is net 2025. Sorry for the long reply. The counter-argument is that Boeing said the weather affected the service module after the capsule stayed out in the open for 40 hours. On the other side, you have Dragon for Crew 3 that stayed on the pad for 3 weeks outside in Florida, though it's good that they caught it. Imagine if they went with the flight and when the service module did orbital insertion, it said no. Well, you have to test the valves on the ground to make sure they work, and if they don't work, you're not going to launch it. That's what I mean. They have a pretty robust testing regime. It's pretty good. At this rate, your update will be done. You'll have copied the install to the SSD. Tessa, I want to talk about space, all right? Something I've been trying to not do is have chat pressure me into doing something that you guys want to do, because that stresses me out. I'm not going to lie to you. It stresses me out to the point where I started yelling at people the other day. So respectfully, shut up and let me talk about space, please. Dude, trust me. I don't want to get stressed out on stream, dude. I don't want to do that. So just let me talk about space. Trust me, this is therapy for me, man. Just trolling you, boss. Yeah, I know. A lot of people just troll me, and it ends up stressing me the hell out. I mean this with all due respect. I didn't realize you had experimental surgery to have your balls removed. Projects go through a rebaselining process when the development cost portion of the commitment baseline is exceeded by 30%. Oof. I said with all due respect, man. You can't just say with all due respect and then insult me. Oh, yes I can. I'm a winner. Winners get to do what they want. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Starliner, guys. I'm really not. Boeing will figure it out, and they're committed to it because of commercial low Earth orbit destinations. That thing's dude, Starliner's gonna operate with revenue service. Guys, okay, so think about the frequency of launches that we need for the ISS. It's like 4 times a year. right? Times that by 3 because there's going to be 3 stations. That's a lot of crew launches once commercial low Earth orbit destinations happen. That's a lot of launches. Not to mention the Axiom missions on top of that. Boeing is anticipating, and SpaceX is too for what it's worth. That's part of the reason why they're making that thing. They're anticipating a really healthy and robust commercial low Earth orbit market. And that literally translates into crew launches happening like 2-3 times a month. Think about it. You have 3 different space stations, right? That all have people on them. And they all need people on board to do commercial low Earth orbit things and science experiments, etc., etc. How many spacecraft do we need just to keep the ISS going? And keep in mind, these space stations will be smaller, but there's 3 of them. You need at least what do we operate now? 4 crew launches every year. Times that by 2. Times that by 3, because there's 3 stations. That's 12 crew launches a year. That's 1 crew launch every month. Not to mention the resupply missions associated with each station. Guys, this is going to be insane. Let me put it to you like this. There's a reason why Rocket Lab was suddenly like, oh yeah, we're going to make a human-rated rocket too. Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, human-rated. Let's do it. See what I'm talking about? If this commercial low Earth orbit destinations contract gets off the ground and gets funded, it's going to be insane. It's gonna be ridiculous. We're gonna see crew launches all the time, so much so it's gonna get boring. And well, it probably will never get boring for me. I could watch a rocket launch every day, and I still love it. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, airplane launches make me happy too. So anyway, it's already off the ground and funded, underfunded, but funded. Got some questions about how the hungry hippo fairing will work for a human-rated neutron. My guess, Cynerd, is that they'll operate... Alright, let me draw it. This is my guess. I don't think Rocket Lab has this figured out yet. But say you have Neutron, right? Neutron has a cut right here, right? And you have the... Right? And then you got your rocket engines down here. Right? And then they have the fairings that open up like this, right? My guess is that, and then you have your little control surfaces here, like this. My guess is what they're going to do, in cargo configurations, they'll have the fairing, and then the fairing will have the and then these things will be able to rotate out, like what they showed. If I had to guess, they'll probably do something like this. Right? You see that? Cylindric interstage. And then the capsule, or whatever the heck they make, you know, will be on top of this with its hatch. And then it'll have like some kind of service module, and that service module will ride on the second stage. Like that. And then when they go to deploy it, you know, the capsule could have a launch escape system on it if it needs it, like Orion does or something. And then the interstage will deploy something like this. Like that. Instead of going all the way up and connecting, it'll just be a conic, or just be a cylindric interstage that opens like this. That's a terrible drawing, sorry. It looks like DCX. Kind of. Do you take commissions? No. Here, let me make some modifications. There we go. Some people will get it. Danger to manifold. Shut up! Signer, that poor Mitsubishi motor. That poor Mitsubishi. And that was an Eclipse GSX too. That poor Mitsubishi. You can't do that. That motor blew a head gasket. Easily. 200 shots of nitrous back to back. I don't think there's necessarily danger to manifold there. I think there's danger to head gasket or piston ring. You off about 350? About 350? Frickin' Jim, look at this thing. You guys want to see something funny? Check this out. I posted, Starship just keeps getting better and better. Construction of Starship orbital pad at the Cape has begun. And frickin' Jim doesn't specify which Cape. Oh, you dick. You dick. Why would you even joke about this? That's Cape Cod. I live right here. Jim? You butt monkey, why would you say that? I mean, you could. You could get to the ISS from there, Snow. You could. If you launch from the National Seashore, from, like, right here? Yeah, sure. Why not? How far away from Wallops are you? 8 hours. That would tie into the whole point to point. That's a good idea, Synerd. I like this idea. I'm happy to be a part of it. So, Mab, Wallops is all the way over there. See where that cloud is? So, I don't have to just go down. I have to go over and then down. And that makes it a long way. Distance-wise, it's not very far. But I'm thinking, like, Melbourne to Sydney. It's about that far. Yeah. That's a long... It's a long way away. I do wonder what they plan to launch for human rating with an 8 metric ton lift capacity in reusable mode. That could get you a Soyuz up, barely. Rocket Guy, if I had to guess, this is just a guess, I don't think they have any plan for what's going to launch on that thing. I think there's a very loose plan for it. I think they're human rating it because you might as well. Might as well human rate it. And if the market trends in that direction towards launching people into space, they'll have a unique capability that not a lot of people have. And then you can pivot to developing a spacecraft. Right? I'm not sure if that's the wisest decision, but Peter Beck said that if they are starting from scratch, you might as well human rate it. There you go. Haven't been here since Neutron was talked about originally. Do we know anything about the launch site yet? Nothing, Shrub. Nothing was talked about that. Carbon fiber crew capsules? I would assume, Torlav, that if they did have a loose plan on how they're going to make a crew vehicle, they would make it carbon fiber, yeah. I assume. I don't know. Human rating is really expensive. I don't think they would do it without a purpose. Yeah. Well, like I said, we theory crafted out. Nice. I just theory crafted how a capsule could go on top of that thing with a service module in a second stage. How well does carbon composite do in extreme heating? Pretty well, Moto. It's not bad. Have you talked about a guess for when you might see the neutron flight hardware? Not till the end of next year, Bagel Buddy. Propulsion, man. They're making an open cycle Methalox engine. That's going to take some time. Because they're scratch building it. It's going to take a second. Orion was going to be made out of carbon composite. Yeah. That would have been nice. Methane engines really took the world by storm. Yeah, I mean, methane is like the diesel fuel of rocket science, man. Which is ironic because RP1 in rocket science is diesel fuel. It's like the diesel fuel. It's something that didn't come about right away, but actually has its own really good benefits, you know? Like how diesel engines have their own benefits versus, you know, a gasoline engine. But gas generator engines are relatively easy to make. Yeah, so that's why I said a year. I mean, but it's still new propulsion, rocket guy, right? That's still new propulsion. It's going to take a second. Yeah, they're building it in anticipation of a market, Thomas. That's why. A gas generator methalox engine wouldn't be too particularly complicated to develop, but that's also kind of a shortcoming because it has very limited development potential versus more complex cycles. Does carbon fiber used on spacecraft expand and contract, or is it super stiff? It's relatively stiff, Kuro. It's still, I mean, thermodynamics is thermodynamics. It still absorbs heat to an extent. I don't know if it moves as much as metal does, but yeah. Yeah, Seinert, I know, but they're still, like I said, dude, they're still developing a new engine. That's going to take some time. That's why I said the end of next year. I understand that an open cycle engine's easier to make than a closed cycle engine. I understand that. But it's still a rocket engine at the end of the day. This stuff takes time. And given Rocket Lab's chops, I would give it about a year, which was the original question. You know, how long do you think it's going to be till we see Neutron flight hardware? About a year. I think that's very reasonable. Maybe a little bit more, just because they're switching propellants too. They use Keralox right now, not Methalox. But then again, SpaceX didn't really have any problem just, you know, switching. Well, they kind of did, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Dr. Pete. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that one, dude. I'm with you. It's going to expand and contract a lot, but not as much as metal would. Guys, like, you got to remember, so carbon fiber it's woven like a blanket almost, right? It's usually made on a mandrel, right? So you have a negative of the shape that you're making, and you just wrap that with carbon fiber. They're not like necessarily overlapping like this. It's just, you just keep laying it down. But if you took that right off of the mandrel after you wove it, right, so to speak, the thing would just, after that, you got to put it into an autoclave. And if you got to put it into an autoclave, which is basically an easy bake oven and a pressure cooker kind of rolled into one. The reason why they need to do that is because they're going to heat it, they're going to heat treat it, and that's what makes it super rigid. The heat treatment process is what really does it. That's what makes it super, super, super strong. Carbon fiber by itself is, you know, without going through the autoclave, is just paper mache. It's just, you know. Will ULA get their engines before Archimedes breathes fire? Savage. Yeah, I got you, Kuro. It's a stack. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of weave it on top of it. It's not woven like a blanket, but yeah, it's not really woven. You just kind of keep winding it back and forth over and over and over and over again. But the autoclave part is what I'm getting at, Pete. The autoclave part is what makes that thing so ridiculously heat resistant because they already heated it. So like heating that, like think about it like this. Okay, you have a campfire, right? You know, you go on camp, you have a campfire, you put wood on there. What's the leftover? You get just ash, right? You can't light that on fire. It's very heat resistant because it's already been burned. Carbon fiber's kind of like that. That's why they put it in the autoclave, so it's really, really, really strong. That's why SpaceX can just have their fairings re-enter, and it's not really that big of a deal. The fairings are even more complicated. The fairings have an inner mandrel and then an outer mandrel. And then on top of that, there's an aluminum honeycomb in between the two pieces of carbon fiber. It's built like like a cake, almost. So they have the inner carbon fiber, the inner carbon composite, and then aluminum. There's a layer of honeycombed aluminum on top of that. And then there's another layer of carbon composite on top of that. And then there's the paint on the outside of the fairing. That whole thing goes in to an autoclave, and they have to bake it. But when you can, it basically flies through re-entry, no problem. Yeah, layered. There you go. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. But long story short, it's already been heated. It's already been heated a lot at very high pressure. And because of that, it's a lot stronger. Just like some hot-rolled steel. Same thing. It's heat treatment, but you have to do it with carbon fiber or else it's not very stiff. The fairings, though, being an Oreo cookie of freaking like aerospace materials, that's why they take a long time to make. Is there any other form of carbon fiber? Is there any other carbon fiber on Mars apart from the new drone's wings? Oh. I'm sure there's some leftover aeroshells from the rovers that parachuted down. Yeah. For Moleculad's video, the machine they use heats it as it goes, or would that be to keep the solution fluid map? You have to put carbon composite in the autoclave, or else it's not going to work correctly. It'll literally fold like a blanket. Heck, even after they treat it, you seen the fairings when they separate, they still wobble. What about making the honeycomb carbon fiber too? I can see some issues with getting aluminum to adhere to carbon composite. Cyanide, I don't know. That's getting into material science that I just don't understand. Nice. Force, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why they don't just make the whole thing out of carbon composite, but I'm sure there's a good reason. I'm sure there's a really good reason. My guess is structure. Don't fairings have stringers? Have you seen fairings with stringers? Negativo. Nice shirt. Thanks, man. I got it from a guy I know. Anyway, all right. We have about an hour until that Soyuz launch.